Hey guys, welcome to Gearing Up. This is a very proud moment for me. I am going to be reviewing one of my local companies today. This is Fatfoot Effects Thallium 81 pedal. It is an Indiana-grown company, and I am a proud Hoosier right now and honored to be able to represent them in one of their gear demos. So what we're looking at today is called the Thallium 81. It is a hard clipping distortion pedal, but it does so much more than that. It can definitely go from just a barely gritty boost all the way up to almost fuzz territory. So definitely a very versatile pedal, definitely a lot of uses for it. The way I'm using it right now is I've got it plugged into the effects return on my Mesa Boogie. So I'm using it as a preamp essentially. And it sounds, this is probably my favorite way to use this pedal. It sounds killer. We're going to switch it over here in a little bit and we'll show you what it sounds like put in front of the amp, which is probably the more traditional use for the pedal. And then you'll be able to hear it kind of in a little bit of a song where we're going to put it in front of the Axe effects, in front of a clean patch on the Axe effects, just kind of hear what it sounds like there, the difference between putting it in front of an amp and putting it in front of a digital platform. So yeah, let's get right into it and we'll check out the pedal being used as a preamp first. So we're in the middle position with the split coil right now, trying to get a little bit of a kind of a country twang, kind of a strat telly sound to it with just a little bit of breakup. It actually stays, if you pick pretty lightly, it'll stay pretty clean in this position. So but once you dig in, you get a little bit of breakup. Let's switch it over to a humbucker and you'll be able to see that we can still pick lightly and still get it fairly clean. It's going to be obviously a little hotter, but you'll be able to hear kind of the dynamics where we can pick pretty lightly or even finger pick, and it's going to remain pretty clean. But then once you really dig in with a pick, it gets pretty gritty. And that's only a quarter of the gain that this pedal has. So let's kick it up to halfway. Now we're going to go back to the split coil position right in the middle, kind of see how that sounds. So we're going to pick lightly again at the start, so you can see how it retains the clarity and it's a very dynamic pedal. That's crazy. That sounds incredible. This is my favorite position, is with the split coil right in the middle with the gain and the volume, or the gain and the tone right at noon. That is just a killer sound. Switch over to a humbucker. Starting to get into a high gain territory, definitely a little more modern sounding. To me it sounds like a Jim Leo kind of mix. It sounds like a mix between a Fender, a really pushed Fender, and like a Marshall style amplifier. Sounds really good. Let's crank the gain all the way up real quick, or we'll go to 3/4 real quick, and then all the way up, just kind of show you what it's got. once we get all the way up, you're going to really hear that it can get into fuzz territory. So let's see what that sounds like. So here's 3/4. Very cool sound. Let's switch over now and we'll put it in front of the amplifier and see what that sounds like. Okay, now we're in front of the amplifier, and you're going to notice that it gets a little brighter, and that's just from going through the preamp section of the Mesa Boogie. Now I do have the graphic EQ turned off, so you're not hearing any coloration there, and then everything else on the amp is set to noon. So really all we're doing here is we're using the master volume, set the EQ pretty flat. I've got a little reverb in there too. So I backed the pedal back down to 1/4 of the way up on the gain. Let's hear how that sounds again. See if we can still retain that clarity going through an already existing preamp section. So we've still got that clarity there. That was on split coil. Let's hear how humbucker sounds. It's definitely brighter. So I would say this is where you're going to have to move the tone just a little bit. So I'm going to do that. And the tone control on this is actually reversed from what you would normally think. So the more, or the farther left that you turn the tone, it's going to bring out more of the high end. The further right, it's going to bring out more of the low end. So let's turn it a little bit to the right and see if we've cleaned up a little bit of that high end fizzle. So you've still got that bark that you would expect out of a single coil kind of sound that you would want from like a Strat or a Telly, but that high end is kind of, it's rounded off a little more, so it's not as harsh to the ears when putting it in front of an amplifier. Let's crank the gain up a little bit more and see what it can do. So as you can see, it can definitely get into fuzz territory. Let's switch over to a song real quick, and you're going to hear it in front of the Axe effects on a clean patch. So you can hear, we've been hearing it going through an actual amplifier. Let's switch over to the digital world and see what that sounds like. So guys, that was the Fatfoot Effects Thallium 81 pedal. Now this thing is incredible, and I hope that came across in the video because I am super impressed with how this pedal sounds, how it reacts to your playing. You don't get distortion pedals to really do that, to be that dynamic, especially the higher end or the higher gain distortion pedals. I mean, this thing has a ton of gain on tap, but it can clean up too, and it can just give you a little bit of bark. And I would say that it is one of the most versatile distortion pedals that I have ever played, and hopefully that came across in the video. Again, a big thank you to Fatfoot Effects. I am honored to be supporting a local company. I hope we can do this again with all the other pedals that you're going to come out with. And I hope that all you guys watching this video, please go and support them on Facebook and their website. All those links are going to be in the description below. Thank you again for watching. You guys are awesome. Thank you again for all the support. At this moment right now, we're almost to 400 subscribers. That's incredible. I never thought that one day 400 people would be watching me. So thank you again for all your support. If you're new to the channel, I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and please support the channel by subscribing. I'm not going to ask you to donate money. I just want the views. I just want to build a community around this channel. And thank you, Fatfoot, for being the first actual company to recognize that and to be willing to send me something to demo. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thanks again for watching, guys.